Welcome back to They Did What, your source for the internet's craziest and most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and on occasion, make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, I, a 38-year-old female, think my son, a 16-year-old male, is having a relationship with our maid. Should I stop it? And guys, this particular story, which, let's be honest here, sounds a lot like an adult film, and also is pretty much every young guy, every teenage boy's fantasy. This is about the mother who, she hired a maid, and she's from a different country, a poor country. The maid's 27, and lo and behold, there's a lot of definite signs that something's going on with the maid and her son, who's 16 years old. And you're going to see here that this is over in England, and technically speaking, the age of consent is for boys, well, for anybody, I guess, is 16 years old. So technically, he's that age, but still, in my opinion, young. And so she's naturally concerned of what to do, how to handle it. So I'm going to jump into this story, and what I'll do is I'll go through the story, and then at the end, read some comments that people left behind about this, and then share what I think, how she ought to handle this situation and what is going on. So, starts off. I am often away on business trips, so I'm not at home pretty much half or most of the week. My husband died 4 years ago. He left us a pretty big house for ourselves, so we hired a maid to clean it once in a while. She is supposed to come for 2 hours, 3 times per week, depending on how much cleaning, laundering, etc. there is to do. 3 times a week to come and clean? I mean, how messy are these people? 3 times a week? That's got to be expensive after a while, but hey, okay. I would figure maybe once a week max. She's been working for us for 7 months now. She is from a poor European country. Her English is pretty bad, so most of the communication is done through her sister, who helped her find this job. I was getting a bit suspicious of their relationship some time ago. After one of my business trips, my suitcase wheel broke, so I wanted to get my son's suitcase from under his bed. I found an open condom package there. I thought that was okay, even though I was not aware my son had a girlfriend. But he is old enough to do these things. Here in England, legal age of consent is 16 years old, so I didn't have any problems with that. Well, just because you saw a open box of condoms doesn't mean that he's doing the maid. Okay, he probably has a girlfriend. And let's be honest here, you may not know about it, but I don't know any 16-year-old boy that's going to want to talk about these things with his mom. I mean, your typical 16-year-old boy wouldn't want to talk about it with his dad either. So, you can't just assume he's doing the maid because he saw a broken thing of condoms. Or if he isn't hooking up, let's just say he could be having the condom on while he handles himself, so to speak. Some guys do that. She continues. Last week, I came back home a day earlier than expected from my business trip. The maid was supposed to be at our place according to the schedule, but I couldn't find her or my son anywhere in the house. I thought my son was maybe in his room. I went upstairs, and when I got closer to his room doors, I heard sounds of you-know-what going on there. I got embarrassed, so I went outside and walked for a while in the garden. Let me tell you, when I was growing up, if my parents came home and they heard what they thought was action going on in my room, 16 years old, 17, 18, even older, believe me, they'd be banging on the door. They wouldn't just go out for a walk around the neighborhood. So that's a little odd here. She says, I came back to the house in 20 minutes and found our maid taking clothes from the washing machine. My son was in the kitchen and there was no one else there, so it must have been them doing it. That seems pretty darn likely. It would seem unlikely that that was going on and it wasn't her. But then again, it's all possible that maybe he was watching a movie of some sort and the maid happened to come in that time frame for her scheduled appointment. I don't know. Got to play devil's advocate here. But it certainly looks like something's going on. She says, what should I do? Should I fire this maid and get a new one? My son would probably hate me for this. Should I talk to my son about it? I have no idea how it started or how they even communicated in the first place. So, believe me, it doesn't need a whole lot of communication going on there. But let's just say for argument's sake this is going on. The maid was hired to do a job, and that job is not her son. The job was to clean and laundry and all that. So if she has this going on, she's obviously going against what she was hired for. And the mother would have every reason to fire her. Also, even though she said that consent is 16 years old in that country, in my opinion, He's still a kid. He's still 16 years old and doesn't need to have his mind played with and all that with this, maid. On the other side, some people may say that the maid may have thought that she had to do this to keep her job. You just never know, okay? I mean, looking at this outside the situation, I mean, just, again, like I said, this sounds like an adult film. And this is like every teenage boy's dream coming true. I mean, maybe his father's in heaven looking down saying, like, high five, son. But, in all seriousness, or simply, it could have been a coincidence. Who knows, but it looks pretty likely. Now, I'm going to read a few comments here, and I'll elaborate more. One person said, I think it's a woman who said this. She says, can you not just outright ask your son if he is having you-know-what with a maid? I would say you should be honest with him about what you found and heard, and that you're a bit concerned because of the age gap. I wouldn't fire her until you're 100% certain they're having an intimate relationship. But ultimately, yes, he is your child, and then she crossed the line there, if indeed that's what happened. Another guy says, I honestly think this is the most likely scenario. I know a fair number of male-bodied folks who wank with condoms on, and if he thought he was alone in the house, on the floor with his room is, he would have had no reason to put his earbuds while watching you-know-what. Adult films. Another guy says, I know this is wrong because it was the female who was 16. I know this is wrong because if it was the female who was 16, the town would have had pitchforks and torches for this guy. Right, exactly. If this situation was reversed, and let's say they had a butler or a guy doing this type of stuff and it was a girl, then of course, right, torches and pitchforks. However, it is possible she is scared she would lose her job. She is from a different culture as well. I wouldn't demonize her, but I wouldn't be okay with her working for me or being around my son. So there's some different takes on the situation. All jokes aside, what could be going on in the whole teenage fantasy thing, if indeed this is happening, what I'd probably do is, as awkward as this is, she ought to talk to her son. Say, look, all right, here's the deal. I don't want to talk about this, but something seems up here and I got to talk to you about it. Now, ordinarily, it'd be something that the dad would talk about, but the dad is obviously not in the picture since he passed away. I would talk to the son and find out what's going on. The odds are he'd probably be like, oh my God, Mom, I'm not doing that, and deny the whole thing. But that way she says she can talk to him. And firing the maid, again, she didn't walk in on the situation. I mean, although she should have banged on the door when she heard it going on in the room. She, didn't actually still see 100% concrete proof. So no sense in potentially ending this girl's job over that. But then again, it can go either way. But pretty much what I would do is I'd make sure the girl wasn't working there. There's always music and sirens going on when I do the video. I would very least make it that the maid wouldn't work there when she wasn't there. At the very least, that way then she can keep an eye on her. But who the hell knows? Because again, it could be a coincidence, but then again, there are definite things that say something is going on there. But anyhow, guys, quick video there. That'd be entertaining to go over there. I saw that. That'd be a pretty good one to cover because, like I said, this is like right out of an adult film. Every guy's dream come true. So, but anyhow, quick one there. So that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Coincidence or not a coincidence, or a completely made up story. Let me know what you think. Although I don't think that she would probably make this story up just for kicks. And guys, also, you ever come up with find a really good story you want me to share, be sure to email it to me. If it's definitely good, I'll certainly go over it. And also, guys, be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.